Why is self-awareness important for engaging with other cultures? We all have responses based on our experiences in life to what happens around us every day. When we engage with people of other cultures, those responses are probably going to make less sense to the people we're engaging with. It's really good to be aware of what's going on inside of us so that when we're creating new relationships with other people, we can think about what might be a barrier to our relationship, what might be something that we're bringing to the table that will actually prevent us from having a genuine relationship. We can think about the fruits of the Spirit, the things that we strive to achieve: patience, kindness, gentleness, understanding. We can also remember to rely on the Spirit's movement in our lives. In Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, we take courage from the fact that we can lean on God in all our ways, and God will guide our footsteps. When we think about our responses to different situations in life, sometimes they're gut reactions, and that's why it's so important to learn about ourselves. Why are we responding this way? What can we do to be more aware of that in the future? Sometimes this means finding counseling or mentoring or taking a personality test. But these are really important when we're thinking about engaging with people from different cultures, because every single thing we do is going to be foreign to them. Intentionality is very important, and this is something that's good practice. My husband and I first went to Bangladesh in 2001, July. This means during September 11, we were in Bangladesh. We were in a Muslim country, and all of a sudden, everyone around the world were thinking about Muslims as terrorists, and people were terrified for us. We were on our way to language class when we found out. 12 hours ahead of the US, it had already happened while we had been sleeping, and we heard about the Twin Towers coming down, and we saw video footage. Our classes were suspended. Our teachers and all the students sat together to think about what this could mean for the world. On our way to our new home, it seemed very surreal. But as we passed strangers on the street, people kept stopping us. How's your family? How close do you live to New York City? Do you know that 300 Bangladeshis died in the Twin Towers? This is awful. This is not something that we Bangladeshis are proud of. This is not Islam. We were hearing from our Muslim context empathy and kindness and concern. Meanwhile, our email inbox was filling with people suggesting we needed to come home right away. The next month, in October, we had to get a visa renewal, and we went to Kolkata. Now that year, in October, Durga Puja took place. This is a Hindu festival that celebrates Durga, the goddess of death and dying. One evening, we rented a taxi cab, and the driver took us to different festivals around the city. At each festival, there were art depictions of destruction, floods, earthquakes, people fighting and killing each other. And then there was a light show of a plane coming in from one side and a tower collapsing. We soon realized that each location we were going to in one portion had 9/11 depicted. And our taxi cab driver noticed this as well. At one point he said, "This might be kind of uncomfortable for you, but you need to know we have no harm intended against you. This is an ultimate example of death and dying, of evil in the world. And we celebrate that Durga is the goddess over the destruction during this festival. We mean you no harm." That was a time of a lot of emotion for us, and it confusing. And my husband and I had to sit a lot and talk about this. We had to think about what to say to family and friends back home, and how to explain to them that even though they were really worried and concerned for us, we probably felt safer where we were in Bangladesh, in a Muslim majority country than most Americans were feeling at that time in the US. We didn't leave. We ended up staying in Bangladesh for another 15 years. And this gave us the opportunity that time gives to get beyond our own discomforts, to get beyond our own misunderstandings, and to start to see how others were misunderstanding. Over those 15 years, we met a lot of people coming to Bangladesh with good intentions. Bangladesh is a place of intense material and spiritual need. People came with good desires and good intentions, but there was always that culture clash and misunderstanding. And so again and again, we would sit with others who were new and listen to their frustrations and their concerns. One common frustration was with housekeepers. Not many people in the US have housekeepers, but in Bangladesh, at the time, early 2000s, when you go to the market and you have to pick your live chicken and then they pluck it and then you bring it home, it's really helpful to have a housekeeper with all the menial tasks. Instead of being grateful for the housekeepers, though, a lot of new people were frustrated and would complain. They didn't understand why their housekeeper did it a certain way when they told them to do it another way. They didn't understand why they were always being asked for more money when the salary they were paying was generous. My husband and I tried to carefully not only acknowledge these concerns and frustrations, but show people that it wasn't what they thought it was, because there were cultural things going on underneath. There was a very different worldview, and there was a different language being used that they didn't fully grasp. But it's very common for us as human beings to respond to these type of frustrations and misunderstandings with emotions. We want to blame something for it. We want to complain about it because it's not something we're doing. This is why practicing being self-aware is so important all the time, but especially when you engage with different cultures. It helps keep you humble. It helps make you realize you don't have the whole picture. And it helps you pause and consider what you could learn from the situation. I've just shared with you my story and my experiences engaging cross-culturally. Take a moment to think of your own. What emotions come up for you? How might you be able to deal with these emotions, be aware of them, so that they don't get in the way of healthy relationships with others? And at the second level, consider the people you're engaging with. What might they be feeling from your interactions? How might the things that you present be very different for them? And they might see it in a different light. Practice a little bit of empathy. This will help you understand better ways to engage. As you think about engaging with people who are different from you, especially people from different cultures, it's good to practice being aware of where you sit, of your worldview. Consider counseling or therapy so that you can engage more with what's going on inside of you. And that will definitely help you respond instead of react to situations. Consider taking personality tests. The tests themselves are not the point, but it's the way that you digest the results and understand more about who you are. Sometimes personality tests can point to things you're not aware of. Sometimes different tests will keep pointing to the same thing. These are good nudges to help you consider the ways that you approach life. Another really good thing is to find a mentor. Find someone who's had experience in cross-cultural engagement. Find someone who's willing to walk with you as you practice engaging with people who are different, and as you practice reflecting the best way to have good relationships with others.